automate absolutely everything that you can in your business. Save as much time as you physically can so that you can spend time on everything else. Right? Yeah, maybe not. So, there's a simple calculation that you can do, right? Because there's lots of scenarios where it's not worth it, but it's really important to check. And what's got me thinking about this today is we are good friends with the maintenance guy of the building that we live in. And he was talking about how in the building process they skimped on a few of the details, which got the lowest range stuff, which they break an awful lot. And so instinctively was like, let's just go for the higher, more expensive ones, and it's going to save the company more money because then I don't have to sort it out, etc., etc. And I said, although you have a point, you may not be correct. Helicopter. Now, here's an example. Let's say you buy the cheapest model, which is 50% less than the next model up, the one that you want that never breaks, okay? And with the cheap model, 10% of them a year break and need to be replaced. Now, if you do the maths of that, in 1 year, you have spent 55% of what the other one is. Now, for you to get up to 100%, you're going to have to do 10 years, right? 10 years worth of that maintenance time, or just the cost of fixing it is where it backs out. But do those tabletops have a life of 10 years in the first place? Probably not. And so, or they might do. And then also when you factor in someone's work, like you can see here how it's not so clear cut. So as an example, within my own company, I'll have a bit more detail on this one. We had a process which was a couple of minutes work every 6 weeks for our choosers to do. And the choosers were like, we could automate, like it would be really handy if we could automate this. And I definitely can automate this. But the time to automate it is a couple of weeks work, right? And so is it worth the hourly rate, my hourly rate, times a couple of weeks, compared to paying 5 times half an hour once every 6 weeks for X many years? And the answer there is almost definitely not, because the system will change. And actually the system at the time that we said, no, this is not worth putting the money into, has now changed already, and it's only been a year. So that would have been a drastic waste amount of money where that time could have gone elsewhere. Now, if you're not doing work at all, and you're like, well, I could just make this easier for everyone. Yeah, sure, why not? If you've got nowhere else to put the effort and the resources, you might as well. But it doesn't always necessarily add up to do that front end investment to save money on the back end, because you can just do the numbers on it of like, yeah, okay, it takes so-and-so half an hour a week to do it. How much are you paying them? How much does that cost over the year? Oh, like 10 grand. Okay, but it's going to cost us 50 grand to make this thing. That's 5 years of you just doing it. The chance that this implementation works first time is next to zero, because nothing ever does, and it's going to be needed to be fixed and maintained, blah, blah, blah. And the system's probably going to change within 5 years. So is this a worthwhile investment? Nah, and that would be right. So yeah, it's not always guaranteed that putting the time and the money in up front is the right decision long term. And this is an interesting discussion to have as well, just talking about finances of stuff. Like at our coffee shop, we bought our coffee machine up front for 7 grand, or we could have paid 10 grand over 5 years, but had the upfront cash to use on other things. Now, we did have the coffee shop for over 5 years, we didn't change it, so we saved that £3,000. Like, was it useful? I don't know. But we could have had that money to put into marketing at the time, and it maybe would have had more money, and you don't know. But cash right now can be a lot more powerful if you use it for stuff than total savings at some point somewhere else down the line. It's a hard lesson for me to learn. It definitely has been, and I still haven't learned it fully, but just an insight into the thoughts of it. Alright guys, hopefully that helps, and if not, Christian, feel free to look back at this. Peace.